Okay, we should be live now. We got a minute. It's time to start our show.
Wow.
Hey, just on time. Hey, welcome to another episode. This is our 30th episode of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with us, the Geeks On Tour. All right, and we do invite you to become a member of Geeks On Tour. You can do that online at geeksontour.com.
I see several people have already said hello.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we say hello right back.
Lynn County, Oregon.
Hi, I'm Jim. Together with my wife, Chris, we are the Geeks On Tour. And do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? Yeah.
Most people do.
Yeah. Do you have questions about your Android or iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks who teach. And we think the best way to learn this stuff is in bite-sized pieces in a regular time frame. So that's why we came up with this show. We pick a beginner's lesson each week, and you can also review them on our website at geeksontour.com.
Okay, Chris, where are we this week?
Mesa, Arizona, and look at those I was going to say palm trees. Look at those saguaro cactus. They are just amazing here. And one of the reasons we're here, well, the main reason, is next week we are going to be presenting our seminars, 3 different seminars, at a computer technology conference. So this has nothing to do with RVs. And I put this up here because if anybody happens to be in the Mesa, Phoenix area, you can probably still come. It's the Computer Technology Conference, and the website is comptechconf.com.
And we'll be doing three seminars, right? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Smartphones and tablets, Google Maps, and Picasa.
Okay, the way we do this show is we do our quick tips first and a beginner's lesson, something that we think is important for beginners to know about their smartphones and tablets. And then we'll talk about the iPad and the Android in this segment. Our app feature of the week is going to be
Toolbox.
I never changed that. Toolbox. For Android only, so sorry about you iOS people, but there's other tools that we can talk about. And then questions. Please post your questions in the comments, either here on the event page or on the YouTube page, however you tend to be watching this, and we'll try to get to them live during the show. And this show is recorded on YouTube, so you can watch it, all the reruns, along with this one, when we get done with this show. It is really cool the way we do that.
Well, or the way Google does that.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with that. That really happens. So, but if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get all of the notifications for those things.
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't seen that. Good one.
Okay, Chris, are you ready for, well, you wanted to do tips first, right?
You're right.
I don't know why you don't have a slide for that.
I thought there was. Any comments, or is we have a see you and hear you okay?
I need to look.
Okay. Well, I saw one comment earlier before the show, and he asked, what about these apps that come pre-installed on your device and you cannot delete, you cannot uninstall? And I just thought that sounded like a perfect question to do our tip with.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to switch over to this.
Okay, so David says he's here. Good afternoon, I'm ready.
All right.
Jerry Criswell says he slept through the show last week.
Nap time. That sounds good, actually.
Yeah, we'll do that. And, okay. There was a question here from Randy about Chromecast and asking if we used it, and we do. And we like Chromecast, and we think it's very worthwhile if you have one of those devices. We have them all, or not all of them, but God, if we had all of them, we wouldn't have any room in the RV. But we have Chromecast, we have the Samsung All-Share Cast, and we have an Apple TV.
And we have the Microsoft.
Oh, right, the Microsoft one,
and
too.
that one is actually kind of the most flexible.
Right, it'll do a lot. With Chromecast, you're kind of limited with what you can do. It'll still do a lot of things. The Samsung is pretty much limited just to Samsung devices, but we can cast our Samsung phone and tablet on that one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe I would love to do a show on that, but how could we demonstrate? Yeah, how could we show that? We'd have to have a TV in the mix here.
Well, I guess we could. I don't know.
I don't know.
Looks like a lot of work to me.
Maybe we'll just talk about it. But are they worth it? I don't know. Seems like we've had. Now, in an RV, it's a big difference. If we were in a house with a good internet, a good wired internet connection,
good point.
Very, very different. In an RV, they seem, so far, they've had as many issues as benefits. So I don't know. And the main benefit to them is taking something that's on your mobile device and putting it on the TV. Well, if you have a video coming on your mobile device, what's that using? That's using your data.
Yeah.
Most people don't have enough data, and it's not good, or it's not good enough to stream movies. So, you know, in a house, totally different thing.
If you have a full all the time on internet connection with good speeds, they're absolutely very cool.
Yeah, and now, but what do you, when we get, someday when we're in a house, what is it that you want? That Google Talk to Me thing?
Echo?
What's Echo. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's not even out yet, but...
Run your whole house.
Right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the tip I'm going to show is what to do about those apps that cannot be uninstalled. So an example, this is a Verizon phone, so it came with a bunch of stuff that is Verizon. One of the things is this one called Cloud. Now, that's Verizon Cloud. And as we've talked about before, I already use Google Plus Cloud Services, Dropbox Cloud Services, OneDrive Cloud Services, and Google Drive Cloud Services. I do not need Verizon Cloud Services, but I cannot uninstall it. On my phone, the Samsung Galaxy S5, if you tap and hold on an app, you get some options up at the top. Often one of those options is to uninstall. But this one cannot be uninstalled. But look at that third option there, disable. You can disable it. So I just drag up until disable turns red and let go. Cloud and all related features will be disabled. To enable cloud again, go to settings application. Okay, sounds good to me. Now if I go back to my apps, that cloud app is no longer showing. And if I needed to bring it back, settings and applications, did I miss it? Applications and applications manager. And then there's all these classifications of applications. The ones that are on the SD card, the ones that are running. You have to, and here's one that says turned off. And there is the cloud app that I just turned off. So if I want, and I've turned off several things. And if I want to turn it back on, this is where I would do it. The Apple devices don't have a way to disable. So what I do on there is I just put them all into one folder. And if you don't know how to do that, that was in our episode 4, I think. We talked about organizing home screens. So I would put all my unused, uninstallable apps, non-uninstallable apps, into a folder called Don't Use or something like that. That's what I would do on Apple. Okay.
Very nice.
So that's my tip.
I like it. All right. It's time to do your...
beginner's lesson, email. Hi.
Deep breath.
Yeah, I have avoided this, and we don't teach this in most, because email is so personal. Everybody uses a different kind of email account, a different kind of email app on their computer, on their phones. You really cannot teach it all. So I just have a few points I want to get across. And back to that. So the points I want to start with is there are several pieces to the puzzle, but 3 primary pieces to this puzzle called email on your mobile devices. First, there's the app. Now, when you get your first smartphone or tablet, you think that you have to use the apps that are on there, but no, not true. So in this little picture here, this blue one is the image of the app that comes with iPhones and iPads. And this red @ symbol is the one that came standard with my Android devices. But you don't have to use those. There are hundreds,
thousands
of email apps. Now, and the email apps is just how do you look at your emails and how do you create emails. The second piece of the puzzle is your email accounts over here. And you might have several. I know I probably have about a dozen email accounts. And one of my main points here to get across is that you do not have to use, for example, the Gmail app to look at your Gmail account. You can set up your Gmail account to be seen in your Apple Mail app or the Verizon Mail app or the Microsoft Outlook or the Mailbox. And vice versa. If you like using the Gmail app, you can put your Outlook.com or your iCloud.com email and view it there. So pick one and stick with it because it's going to be complicated no matter what you do.
Really?
And then there's settings and synchronizing, and you can find those settings. Some of them are right with the app. Some of them are with your system accounts. So those are the 3 main pieces to the puzzle: the apps, the accounts, and the settings in sync. So you need to get familiar with all of them. So as much as possible, I would stick with one system. All right.
Okay.
So it is important to know that the app that came with your device can set up multiple emails. So even with just the app that came with your device, you might like it best. You can set up several emails. Check the sync settings for the app as well as for the account. Now, what we do to simplify it all, we do use Gmail, and I'll show you this just at the end. If you have a Gmail account, on the website for gmail.com, you can open up that account and tell it to fetch all your other ones. So from then on, all you need to install on your phones and tablets is that one Gmail account, and it's getting all your others.
And that's the way that I do it personally.
Yeah, and since we do that, there's a lot that I've learned this week in looking at doing it other ways. So I will show you that. So what we're going to do first is iPad. Which one of these is an iPad?
Do you have too many devices?
Yeah, really. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so here is my iPad. And here is the Mail app that came with the iPad, but here is the Gmail app that I downloaded. And you can use either or both of them, but I recommend picking one. Then and let me go into the app that comes with the iPad or iPhone. And notice it says all mailboxes up here at the top. And we have an iCloud, a Mom's Custom Email, and a Chris's Outlook. So if I tap on Mom's Custom Email, I am now seeing her messages. Or Chris's Outlook, and I don't get much mail at my Outlook account. Or my iCloud, I also don't get much mail there, but what there is. Or I can look at all inboxes together. So any of these emails might be from any one of those accounts. Now on the iPad, where you set that up is in your main settings. So I'm going to go back to Home and Settings. And then Mail, Contacts, and Calendars. And so see how there are the 3 accounts that we just looked at using the email app. And I'm going to add another one. So add account. And just to prove a point, you can add a Gmail account to the Apple Mail app. I'll just say the account I'm going to add is a Google account. And I just have this fake one for OD Gold. And the email address, odgold@gmail.com. And the password. I don't want any of you being able to go in and get Odie's email. Okay. And then I'll give the account a name and click on Next. Now, if what you are setting up is one of the standard email types, the Gmail, the Outlook, the Yahoo, something that is very familiar in computer world, you don't have to know all the detailed settings that go behind it. But also, look here. I'm just talking about mail. Why is it coming up and telling me contacts, calendars, and notes?
Well, that's just part of the deal if you want it to be.
That's the way accounts work. Your accounts have email abilities, contact abilities, calendars, and notes. Now, if you just don't want to use contacts and you don't want it to use system resources looking for contacts, you can just click these off. And you're just working with email now. And now when we go back to the email app and look at our mailboxes, we should see that there is now a 4th one right there. And it hasn't gotten any of the emails yet, but it's now downloading 100 of them. Okay. Now, why is it doing that? That's called synchronizing. Has it downloaded those from the server and taken them off of the server? No, it's synchronizing. And those settings, and this depends on your app, but some of the settings will be back in your synchronizing. So I'm going to go into this Gmail OD and then tap on account. And now there are some extra features under advanced. All right, I need to get rid of the keyboard so I can see advanced. And this is something I just learned. If you use the standard app that comes with iPad and iPhone, deleted emails may not be getting completely deleted. Notice this. The deleted mailbox can be different on your device versus on the server. If you don't know what I mean by server, that's where your emails get put originally up in the cloud on Gmail's servers. Think of it like the main post office for Gmail. Your mail goes there and then it gets delivered down to you. So on the server, you could, if you wanted to, say that things that you delete on your iPad just go into your drafts on the server. I don't know why you would want to do that. If I delete it, I want it deleted. But that is possible. So there's all sorts of settings in here. And last, I want to show you that you can completely delete account. If I say, you know, I don't want to deal with this this odgold@gmail account anymore. I'm going to delete the account. Now, where's that deleting it from, you think?
I think it's just deleting it from that device, right?
Right. It's still on the server. So it says deleting this account will remove its data from your iPad. But whatever wasn't deleted is still on the server. So I could set that email up on another device. So that's what synchronizing. Do not worry. These devices are just awesome. You know, you get a new device, and all you have to do is set up your accounts, and everything's there. Everything's back.
I like it.
Okay. For the Android, I usually use my phone, but this time I decided to use just a generic Android device. And if you watched our show a couple weeks ago, you might recognize this one. It is the RealPad, the AARP RealPad. And there is the standard email app on here. And same thing, just it looks a little bit different, but you have the same idea. There's my Chris Gould email, there's the Odie Gould email. And now on this one, I say I want to add my mom's email. Is that what I decided? No. I need to add my Chris Gould at Outlook.com email on this. So I tap on the menu for this email app. Yeah, see, what you're going to see here is the correlation between the settings for the email app itself and the settings for the device accounts. I'm using the email app, and I'm going to add an account. But that is adding an account to your underlying settings, and I'll show that at the end. So I add account, and email address is Chris Gould at Outlook.com. That's my Microsoft account.
Okay.
And I'm
hiding it.
Oh, okay. Very good. Not that I really think anybody's watching or cares, but probably still not a good idea. All right, and then next. All right, Chris Gould. Oh, I have a typo here. So I have to go back. It didn't get the at sign. At. There we go. And Outlook.com is a standard email, so I won't have to go in and manually set up any settings. I just tap next.
There are times when you might need to go into that manual settings. So for a lot of travelers, especially our Canadian friends from up north, they would need to go in and know what incoming email server they have and what outgoing email server they might have. And it can get confusing because even sometimes you need to set ports. You really need to know what your email is. So if you're using a standard one, everything's pretty easy.
Right.
But if you have an email account at your home servers, then you might have an issue. So you can find out. You just have to go to their website, and there's usually a help there where you can find that information out. And there's just, or you can call them up and they can give you the information. Just tell them what you're trying to do, and they understand how that works.
I did have a sample of that on the iPad. So what Jim is talking about is if you don't have an at Gmail, an at Outlook, an at Yahoo, one of the standard, you have a, in this case, this is my mom's special account, at MarylandsPlanet.com. Then you have to go to the provider of Maryland's Planet. In this case, it's a website called Web Hero, and you need to get the settings from them for incoming mail server and outgoing mail server. So those are the things to know, and it's the host of that email that will know it. Okay. So now we're, where was I? To see where I was, I tapped the multitasking button on this device, and there it is, the email. Back to right where I was.
Yeah, straight
and
up a little. Yeah. Good.
And this should now be set up, but I don't see it over there. Okay. So somehow I must have tapped this cancel as I set this ad account. Chris Gould at outlook.com and SA. Next. Validating server settings, it's saying. And one, now here are all the synchronizing. Do I want to synchronize the calendar from this account? No, I do not use the calendar on this account. I do use some email. I do not use any contacts on this account. And yes, I'll be notified when email arrives. And how many emails do I want it to get right now? Last week? Well, I probably don't have anything from last week, so I'll say last month. Your account is set up and email is on the way. Next. So now don't need settings anymore. I go back and now you see I have Chris Gould at Outlook. And there's nothing there. And there's the Odie Gould one, and there's the Chris Gould at me.com, which is my Apple account. Or I can tap on Combined View and be seeing all of my email. And last on here, what if I decided, nope, I'm not going to use that Outlook account at all anymore. I want to remove the account on this device, which is a generic Android device. I need to go into the settings of the device, the system settings, find accounts, and notice the Outlook doesn't appear here, but I believe it's under IMAP. Nope. Okay, it's under corporate then. Who knows why they put it under corporate? But
well, Outlook used to be like the main corporations, big enterprises used Outlook for their web servers, for their email, and gosh, even way back when I was even an Exchange administrator, and that was
and some people are still using Exchange. I'm dealing with that with a friend. So
you had to change all. I mean, it was pretty intricate the way email worked, and I had to be a group-wise administrator one time. Wow, anybody remember that one?
It was before the web.
Right.
All right, so I want to get rid of this account from this device. I can tap on it and tap the three-dot menu and remove account. Remove this account will delete all of its messages, contacts, and other data. Remove account. But it's really fairly easy to add and remove. But now what I like using is Gmail. And on Gmail, I have it's getting the Odie Gould and it's getting the Chris Gould, and I can add accounts here to this Gmail app on this device. But better yet, as I said in the beginning, our trick is to use Gmail on a web browser and attach all of your desired accounts to your one Gmail account. So I'm going to show you that. And hopefully you all are subscribed to our newsletter, because there is so much to this. I'm going to be writing some articles on the newsletter.
I have a quick question here. Art's asking, do the individual spam and filters of each email account still work if you have them all flowing into one app?
Of each account. Well, so it would depend. I mean, there are spam filters that are part of an account, meaning it's done up at the server.
Okay.
Or there are other spam filters that are part of the app, aren't they?
Yeah, I think there are. But
so it depends. But if it is part of the account, meaning it's handled up at the server, then my expectation is that that still works just fine, even though you've combined different email accounts into one app.
Okay. He has a speculative question here. You go on.
Isn't everything speculative?
When I'm offered Windows 10 for a year free to replace my Windows 8, what differences are there for us non-tech types? We'll need to decide if I want to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, I'm still learning Windows 8. So I think, Art, that you should go ahead and get the new Windows 10 when it's available later this year. I don't necessarily recommend non-tech types get the preview version that I have on my computer because it is still in beta. It's still going to change a lot. But from what I've seen and what I've read, I really like the new interface. It has something more akin to the Windows 7 start screen, and it kind of melds the Windows 7 and Windows 8 best features together, and it's going to be more secure, and it'll take advantage of new technology. So that's a great question. Thanks.
Okay, so I am right now looking at Jim's Gmail account on a web browser. And if you click on settings here, so he's logged in with his #1 Gmail account. And if you go into settings, one of the settings is fetching other accounts and import. And so he is here getting his geeksontour.com. So that's a corporate, that's a custom account.
A business account, right?
So when you first told Gmail to access that, you had to tell it the incoming servers and the outgoing servers and the ports and all that stuff. But you only had to do that once while logged into Gmail with your #1 Gmail account. Now, in his inbox, he has his Gmail. He also has, wherever you see GOT, that means it was something that was sent to the Geeks on Tour account.
Right.
So that's how Gmail does it. Is with the little label here. But the point being, there's still work to do. You still have to understand how to set it up. But this is set up under one email address.
Right. And it makes it so easy to deal with it on the other devices. Gmail is my main email inbox aggregator, so all of my email comes to one place, and regardless of what device I'm on, if it's my Nexus 7 tablet or even a public laptop or a public computer.
Like in the computer lab last week.
Right, I can check my emails. Important though, remember to log out and don't save that password
when you're on a public
computer.
computers.
Yeah. It's important not to do
that. But I think the best thing is if I should decide to get a new phone, I just wipe this one out, take the new phone, add my main chrisgould@gmail.com account, and I have all my other email with me because that's the way the Gmail is set up. It doesn't even have to be on the Gmail app, and I tested that this week.
Right.
So, for example, I could use that new Inbox app,
right,
and just set up, or the stock email app on the RealPad, and it got all my emails.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a quick question from Lois. Can I block emails that are unwanted ads, or do I need to set up a filter?
It depends on your email account and your email app.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I tend to just ignore the ads. I mean, everybody gets them. Yeah, you spend a lot of time trying to get rid of them, but they spend a lot more time trying to
add more.
Them those ads. I just delete them. I toss them.
But that's one nice thing about the Gmail app. The Gmail app automatically notices things that are ads, and it puts them in a different group. So it's quite easy just to delete the whole group, or at least just scan it, knowing that there's probably nothing important there.
Right. I just
except for your Geeks On Tour newsletter.
Very important. Yeah. All right. Let's get rid of that and get up into the... We need to move along to the app of the week, I think.
Okay.
About ready? Get rid of that. Okay. So my app of the week this week is a replacement to the Swiss Army knife app that we talked about a few episodes ago. That's no longer available. And so I wanted to have something that replaced it. Now this is for Androids only. It doesn't work on the Apple devices, the iPad or the iPhones. There are some apps that will work on those, and we need to go in and investigate those a little bit more. But look at all the things that this thing can do. A compass, a leveler, length measuring tools, a protractor, a vibrometer. That sounds scary, doesn't it? Magnetic field detector, altimeter, tracker, flashlight. Now there was, I like the idea of having a bunch of things in one app. Some people like to have separate apps for all of these things. That uses up a lot more room on your device. Has a unit converter, a magnifier, and it has a really good magnifier in there you can use. It's... Are you trying?
Yeah, I got it here, but let me see.
I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Oh, not on there. Good calculator. Barcode reader is built into it. And timers, a metronome. If you like music, you can tune your guitar with it. It has a good mirror. I'm not sure I like that all that much. And there's a link down there. But here's a couple of screenshots of it, and it's real easy to use. I like the leveler. It has everything in one place. It's not intrusive. It doesn't need access to your contact lists. It says it's not going to use or send your information to any other servers or services. It's just going to be there for that. And if you want to change to a different thing there, you can probably show it there. Okay.
All right.
She wants to do the magnifier.
I've actually had good use for the magnifying glass several times, and this one will even turn a light on it and focus it. Yeah, so if there's some...
And you can zoom in and zoom out using that slider.
Yeah, and then focus. Yeah, there, so I couldn't read that word that says lock. I couldn't read that at all without the magnifier. And then how do you make it stop?
There's a button at the bottom there. It looks weird, and it'll just hold it. You did it twice. There. Now it's held. And you can move.
Now it stops wiggling, and
right.
I can really read. Really good for serial numbers, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very, very handy. So
that's what it looks like. Look at all those cool things.
Yep. It is a...
And what was that roulette?
We might use this in our
so
booth.
If you want to just do a little game of chance.
And we can put numbers on there. All right, number 5's the winner. Oh, too much fun. All right. So... We're getting to the end here.
Yep.
We want you to like us on Facebook. You can get there at facebook.com/geeksontour. Did you learn something? I don't know.
Yeah, please do subscribe to our newsletter if you want to get more. I'm definitely going to write some more about email on mobile devices.
Yeah, there's so much to know about.
And probably some member videos as well.
So how do you check multiple email addresses on your phone or tablet?
So the key there is just to understand that the app can use several different accounts. So you just add accounts, email accounts.
True or false? To use a Gmail account, you must use the Gmail app.
Absolutely not. You just add a Gmail account to your other app, to the app that you like the best.
Yeah. How do you set up a company like Geeks On Tour email?
You have to know the settings. You have to find out from the host of the email product, like if it was GoDaddy or if it's your corporation, what the incoming servers and outgoing servers and ports.
Okay. And what does sync mean?
Well, it stands for synchronize, and it can be different things in different places, so it's kind of tough. But it generally means when an email is added to the server, it's also added to your device. And when it's added to your device, it's also added to the server. And when it's deleted from the server, it's deleted from your device, etc., etc. But sometimes it's slightly different.
Does sync always delete from the server?
Right. Like I just discovered this week that on the iPad there is an option for saying what does delete mean.
And in addition to the email messages, what accounts, most accounts include what?
Calendar and notes and contacts.
So if you want to have all
Each
your
account.
contacts available to all of those apps, you have to make sure that those things are in there. And I think they are mostly by default. Okay. Karen asks, there's a business that has individuals sending me texts with each person's first name at blackhatmedia.net. It's always a different first name. How do I block them?
Well, once again, it depends on your app, but in Gmail, it would be called a label?
Yeah, I guess it would be. You can, in some apps or in some email apps, block everything from a certain domain, but typically that might not be what you want to do. But in this case,
Black Hat Media very likely would be something you might want.
That you might want.
I don't know what they are, but in Gmail, in Outlook it was called Rules. In Gmail it's called something else. I forget. Maybe somebody will add it on there. But you can say, hey Gmail, every time you see an email with these characteristics, and there's lots of things, then send them straight to the trash.
Yes, it can be done. Okay? So what's the webpage that lists all of our weekly shows?
geeksontour.com, and the menu item for weekly show.
And what's the webpage that lists all of our recent newsletters?
geeksontour.com, and the menu item is blogs and articles. Newsletters is under there.
Okay. What benefits do I get by joining Geeks on Tour, Chris?
The joy of supporting us.
Don't do that.
Access to all our tutorial videos, ask questions in our members Q&A forum, and last but not least is the show notes. After these shows are recorded, I go through and write up notes and links to the specific timeline places so you can go directly to what you want to watch.
And that's becoming a really good feature. An advantage of being a member is that you can go right to the specific pieces that you want. And
I find that I'm using it all the time. In fact, I've saved every show notes to my Evernote, and then I can search.
And link right there.
Yeah.
That's cool. So we do invite you to become a member at geeksontour.com. You can do that right online, and you'll get all of those advantages. Okay, next time. You're going to do a beginner's lesson on widgets?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Widgets are more fun than email setup.
Well, we'll have an app of the week. I don't know what that's going to be yet. And then we'll take your questions. Watch for the notification for next week's show, and make sure that you click on the fact that you're coming and leave any questions there in the comments, and we'll try to address them during the show. Art says he learned a lot. Thanks for all you do for us.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why we do it.
We do it for you. And for us, too. We have such a good time. This is just so much fun doing a live show from an RV in an RV park in Mesa, Arizona. So, let's get rid of all this stuff here.
And we'll see you next week on What Does This Button Do?
I don't know. Don't touch that
button. Keep pressing those buttons.
Don't touch that button.
Especially his.
She's pushing my buttons again.